Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. Tonight we are recapping the week's nerdy news from Gorman to Gotham and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me as always is Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
I don't know. There's not a lot
All right.
that's up right now. We were talking
Not
about
a
this
lot that's up.
prior. News on the week is relatively thin.
Yep.
But in general,
And it's been less than a week since we've recorded an episode, so there's even less time that has passed.
This is true.
So
This is very true. So
less opportunity for news to arrive, but we've got some. We've got a
there's
little
some
bit.
things there. Yeah.
We have scoured the internet for little nuggets of news and updates for you wonderful people
All
of
of
the
the interwebs.
multiverse nation, all the people. Got to start off by saying thank you to our sponsors for this show and all shows, Funky Town Comics and Vinyl. Currently closed in their Camillus location, working on a new location. But their second location up in Cicero, still firing on all cylinders. And speaking of the location in Cicero, Steve and I and one host of another local-ish nerdy comics podcast, Mon Comics, Brandon from Mon Comics, three of us will be hosting a live episode of this show from Funky Town in Cicero this Friday, February 27th. Time undetermined as of right now. We're thinking mid-evening sometime.
Yeah.
6, 7-ish, 6, 7.
God.
You know, that kind of thing.
For any of you who do not have school-age children, you may have missed that whole trend. I envy you.
It's kind of fading out, though.
It seems
it's kind
like
of on the end.
It seems like it's on the outs, and
Every
I'm not
once in a while.
gonna. It's like the perfect game. I don't want to talk about it ending. Like it's just let it go.
Exactly. You don't want to jinx it. Every once in a while, my son still like notices something and throws it out there,
Yep.
but it's not nearly to the degree that it was 3 months ago.
So
Even though
today I
it's
was
just-
the starter for my son's ski race, and when number 67 came up, the way I announce is always, like I basically am like 2-4 racer ready, like for 24.
Yeah. Great. Works for me.
One way or
Works for
another,
me.
we did it, guys.
We
broke it.
did it. Now, Steve, right before we went live, you said there was a couple things you wanted to bring up. Did you want to bring those up now, or is this a later in the show kind of thing for you? I don't know. what you were
No, we'll
going
let
at
it
when
we'll let it go with the flow. I'll bring them up at
Okay.
points. Stuff from the community, if you will.
Right. Okay.
Brian in the chat can confirm, still alive with the younger ones, not as big. So we're on target.
It's still out there.
Yep.
It's still out there. I also have a couple things to throw your way. They're not very big though. They're not news stories, just things that has happened to me, but they can wait.
Yeah.
Right now, we're talking about some Star Wars stuff. This isn't necessarily news, but Tony Gilroy, producer of the Star Wars series Andor, Emmy Award-winning the series
Right.
Andor.
A series, if you have not seen it, literally stop listening to us. I will actively tell you, stop listening to us and go start that series.
You're wasting your time listening to us
Yeah.
when you could be watching Andor. You could be experiencing... Honestly, I can't remember if I've said this on this show or not, but I have said this to other people in my real life. If I am honest with myself and I remove all nostalgia from the Star Wars projects that I like, I think it's hard to deny that Andor is the greatest project that Star Wars has ever released. I think it's probably the best made thing.
Yeah. I mean, in all honesty, what is its competition? It's literally that and Empire.
Like maybe 2 or 3 movies,
right? Like,
could go against it. But
like
that's
Star Wars
kind of
from the when it was out and like this marvel of modern technology and storytelling, and then Empire, and then that. Like those are your options.
Yep. firmly an adult Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
It's like not even for kids a little. Whereas most other Star Wars things you can argue are somewhat kid friendly in some, or has been argued that somewhat kid friendly. Or for kids. Much like Mandalorian Grogu is like maybe, certainly skewing more towards like family friendly adventure, but we've just gotten 2 seasons of this like incredibly intense, just serious adult thing. It's like we always talk about Star Wars. There's many layers of Star Wars. There's Cassian Andor, and there's Swamp Thing plant monster from whatever. Was that Mandalorian season 3 that we had like a captain of a ship that looked like Swamp Thing? Yeah. Just weird stuff like that all the time. Anyway,
So
go watch Andor.
on the flip side, though, that does segue nice into one of the things I was going to bring up. So you mentioned Mandalorian and Grogu being a very seemingly a family friendly property, which is something I know you and I have been slightly at odds at odds on as to the nature of one small green thing.
Sure.
If you remember recently in some text messages we have had, one of our dear friends and listeners, one Adam, has brought up the fact that Mandalorian started out as strictly a Western and a bounty hunter show, and was a relatively serious tone. Not like Rogue One Andor serious, but in the more serious side of Star Wars. And then the more Grogu seemed to get his hooks in and people reacted to it, that shifted. And that paradigm shift has led us to what you're describing now as a family-friendly movie. That's started there.
I have a couple. Well, I wouldn't say that the Mandalorian TV show isn't family-friendly. I think that's a PG-13 family-friendly series. That's not like an Andor R-rated thing. I don't think it ever was. And I don't think they ever intended it to be, because they knew they were going to introduce a cute little baby Yoda. Like, there's no way that they thought that was going to be an R-rated show. For sure. Sorry, what's the other thing that you said about I thought it was you in what you just said, you blamed a fictional character for the softening of the Mandalorian. You said once Grogu got his hooks in.
No, I meant to the masses, though.
Pretty firmly on,
you know what I mean?
Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni.
100%. Yes.
Yeah. And I don't know, man. Like we don't know what directives they're under from Lucasfilm or from Disney or whatever. I don't know that anyone said like, you better make Mandalorian season 3 more of a wiffle ball tournament compared to the first 2 seasons. Like, I don't know if someone said that to him, or that was just like the story they wrote, or just, sometimes you try to make a thing good and it turns out less than what you thought. I don't know. I can't describe that.
Yeah, none of us were in the writer's room, but like the way season 3 seemed a little more disjointed than the rest, and there wasn't a ton of through lines, and it just, we had random cameos of people, we had all sorts of stuff going on, and it was like, what's happening here?
Like, from what we've heard, there was some pressure for like they weren't supposed to. Mando and Grogu weren't supposed to reunite.
No.
In season 3. Season 3 was supposed to be all without Grogu, which is why Grogu really doesn't have anything to do in season 3, and it was like studio pressure to reunite them, which is why they get reunited in a different show, Book of Boba Fett, which is annoying. So like, I guess you can probably, if that's true, you can probably direct blame towards Disney or Lucasfilm, whoever made that decision.
Right.
For forcing them to write a story they weren't prepared to write. They probably had other things in mind for season 3 that they couldn't really execute because they were, forced to do it in a different way.
Now, on the flip
I don't
side,
think they meant to keep those 2 characters apart forever. I think we would have gotten a reconciliation of those 2 characters maybe in season 3.
Right.
But, we don't know how long they're planning on making a movie. We don't know how long they were going to be apart. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we don't know and we can't really assume. But, like, I don't necessarily think that Mandalorian Grogu looks softer than any episode of The Mandalorian specifically. I think it looks very like we said before, I think a lot of people are saying this kind of looks like a long extended episode of The Mandalorian. That's kind of all that I'm expecting to going into it. I'm not expecting it to be Star Wars world changing film or,
Right.
anything like that. And not like an episode 10 would be or anything like that. It's going to be a fun 2-hour space adventure. And that's what I'm expecting. And I think if anyone's going in expecting other than that, they're probably setting their hopes too high. And I think like if you go in expecting that and it ends up being more, great. But like
Right.
I don't think anyone should go in expecting Rogue One necessarily.
No, and we've said that, multiple times that
Yeah.
effectively every Star Wars movie is the cave on Dagobah. Like whatever
Exactly.
you bring in is all that is in there with you.
Yep. Yeah.
It's, it
Yeah.
is what
If
you make of
want
it.
it to if you loved Andor so much, because Andor is what the most recent other Star Wars thing, is it that we've seen? Andor season 2?
Yeah, I
Or did
think
Skeleton
so.
Crew?
Skeleton
I
Crew
think it
might have
was,
gone
yeah.
after. No, Skeleton Crew
I
was
don't
early
remember.
25.
I think you're right. I think it was, yeah. So if Andor season 2 is the most recent Star Wars thing you see, and that's just in your brain that you think the next thing is going to be like that too, like I don't know what to
Right.
tell you. Like reset those expectations because no other Star Wars thing is like that.
No.
None.
Shift that paradigm drastically.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like as far as tone goes, I'm expecting Mandalorian Grogu to be more closer to like something like The Force Awakens, which is like fun and bright and like zips.
Right.
Like Force Awakens has heavier stuff that happens because it like affects the whole like timeline or whatever. But like tone wise, visual wise, I'm thinking Force Awakens as far as like what it's going to be like, and maybe something heavier will happen in that movie. We don't know what happens in Mandalorian Grogu, so it's a lot of speculation. But I'm not expecting it to, like I just said, I'm not expecting it to change the world of Star Wars. But the other thing I wanted to say, based on the text exchange that you referenced earlier, is like a dissatisfaction that maybe the character of Mandalorian has softened from his introduction to now. And I was thinking about that, and I feel like that's kind of his arc, right? Like the fact that he has to learn how to take care of this foundling. Is that what they call him?
Yeah.
In Mandalorian culture, foundling, like he is softening a little bit because he has to be a father now, and unexpected, and he's like kind of fell into it and he wasn't sure that he wanted to do it, but like that's kind of his whole arc. That's kind of like the whole thing, is that he has to learn how to be a more affectionate, understanding person while he's training Grogu to like be something more than just like a dumb blob of force using cuteness, so I think like
right. But at the
if you're
same
like
time,
mad that he's like maybe not as badass as he was, like I think that's what the show is about. I think that's the arc of Din Djarin, is to like become a
you can soften though. You can soften and become a father, but still like maintain a modicum of, not just playing babysitter for this Yoda character that isn't. I don't know.
Well, I agree.
It
Seems
seems like
I think he
it
does
seems like
some
they're
pretty
taking.
badass shit in season 3, and I think he's
He
going to do
does.
probably some pretty. He does some, murders those 2 stormtroopers pretty badassedly in the trailer. So like, I don't know. I think he's still got it.
I'm sure he does, but it seems like I don't know. I just feel like it's a different arc than initially through the first 2 seasons I was expecting, and that it shifted a little, especially in season 3 and into Book of Boba Fett. Maybe it would have, and again, we're in hypotheticals now because it's not what was written and it's not what was produced. But like, if in season 3 they're not reunited and Din goes and finds himself more and like figures out something else, and then they come back together, it changes that dynamic a little, instead of succumbing to the fact that everybody loves Grogu and they have to be together. Like, let him go hang out with Luke for a while. Maybe do a spin-off, like 1-shot or 2-shot of like Luke and him at the academy or whatever, which effectively they did with Book of Boba Fett. But
if I had to guess, I would have said that season 3, they probably would have reunited at the end of season 3. Would have been similar to what we saw in Book of Boba Fett. Maybe we would have cut to Grogu and Luke training a few times throughout the series, just to like check in on them or
Yeah.
whatever. And then by the end, we'd still would have gotten the whole like Bo-Katan storyline and Moff Gideon storyline. Probably would have played out similarly. And then in the last episode, it's Din going to pick up, or like Grogu has the choice that Luke gives him the choice that he gives him in Book of Boba Fett, and we end. I don't know. Somehow they end up back together at the end of season 3. That's my guess.
Yeah.
What if? This is total conjecture. What if Mandalorian Grogu, the film, is kind of serving as like a reset because of season 3 was so disjointed and so not what they intended? What if this ends up being like a reset for these characters?
Yeah.
Because we've heard stuff about a season 4 also. Like, I haven't heard that this is the end of the Mandalorian series. It's just a movie.
Yep.
Maybe it's a one-off adventure, but also maybe it's like a, hey, these characters are back together. There's some differences now, but like, this is the story that we want to tell. This is not the story that Lucasfilm was making us tell. This is a Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni like intention to tell this story.
I mean, in all honesty, maybe the pendulum swung again when there was the reaction to season 3.
Yeah, maybe that's why they wanted to make a movie. Maybe it was like, fine, we'll do this thing the way you want if we get to tell this story, if you give us a movie.
Right.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. We don't know.
And now I
we'll
guess
probably never know.
I was going to say now they can go back to Kathleen, but they can't go back to Kathleen. Dave can just talk to himself.
Yeah, he can make that decision himself.
So, like, effectively, they can listen to those voices because, it's always the loudest voices. But in this case, like, normally the loudest voices tend to be wrong. In this case, like, season 3 was disjointed, and it was a little like there were definitely, as with all Star Wars, there were some awesome parts of it, but there were also some like, no, that doesn't make sense. What the hell are they doing there?
I am very much looking forward to rewatching all of Mandalorian, but in a way, season 3 specifically, to see like, does it play any better? Because that was like a thing where I didn't notice it at the time while I was watching it. Like, I remember enjoying every episode of season 3, but then by the end of it being like, oh, that wasn't really, not a ton happened really, or not a ton to write home about there. So I'm interested to see if it plays any better for me or plays any worse once we get to it.
Well, and that might have been the thing, is if Grogu's off doing his whatever and it's Din just having, serial episodes like was originally intended during that season, maybe it looks a little better, maybe it feels a little better, but there just didn't seem to be that real through line continuity thing going on to move the story of those two forward, because it wasn't written that way.
And the other thing too is that people complain about season 3 not even being disjointed, but being too focused on Bo-Katan's character, and not as much focused on Mando.
Right.
And again, I didn't feel that at the time. She was certainly a bigger character in season 3. I didn't feel that it stole. I think like it was just like, my guess is that the original intention for Mando season 3 was it to be Mando and Bo-Katan instead of Mando and Grogu.
Right.
And now they had to figure out a way to get Grogu there and give him something to do. So then it felt like kind of maybe too much was happening. If we kind of strip that away, streamline it, just have it be Din Djarin and Bo-Katan, it would be less, or would have been received more because it would have been a more focused storytelling. I don't know. It's all conjecture. It's all, they should have done this, and why did they start the prequels when Anakin's a little kid, and why is Luke sad in Last Jedi, and all this kind of, classic Star Wars fan woulda, coulda, shoulda conversations. But this is even based on nothing because we haven't even seen Mandalorian and Grogu. It's like even more conjecture than those other things. So who knows? Who knows? But I'll say this, while we're tangenting on Star Wars before we get to the Tony Gilroy thing that I started talking about 20 minutes ago. I watched last night with my wife and my son, Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. My son loved it. He thought it was great. He had no problems.
Yeah.
My wife, who hated it the first time she saw it, also thought it was great.
Huh.
And I liked it more than I've liked it in a long time.
All right.
I don't know. And like, it's still all the stuff that bothers me. Emperor shouldn't be there. No reason for that. Skipping over plot points like crazy. Way too much going on. But I don't know. It just cruises. And it's like, there's a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of fun stuff. It doesn't make a ton of sense. And it's not particularly well structured, but I don't know. It works for me in a lot of ways. More ways than other Star Wars movies do. So
All
I
right.
don't know.
We can agree to disagree.
It's that. We can agree to disagree.
Episode 9
We
is
have to, Steve.
episode 9 is
have
still
to.
one hell of a trilogy. They just packed too much shit in there, and none of it makes sense. And it is.
Yeah, they really did. They really did. But like again, it's like another example of why, like, you know, you and I had a negative reaction to the prequels when we saw them because it wasn't what we wanted or wasn't what we thought. But then kids that were 10 to 20 years younger saw those first, and they're like, "What? There's nothing wrong with this. What are you talking about?" Same deal. You know, Rise of Skywalker for you and me is just like, what is this? This is a mess. And then, you know, you show it to a 9-year-old and they're like, this rules. This is great. What's wrong with this? You know, so sequels are going to have the same kind of like young fandom as the prequels did.
I do wonder with us, and like me in particular, like I had come to terms with Last Jedi before I saw Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
And because they threw so much of that movie out, I think that might have been another piece of what bothered me about it.
It definitely bothered me less this time. I think here's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm at a place with Rise of Skywalker similar to where I ended up getting with the prequels, where I'm just like, nothing I say can change this movie.
Right.
They already made this movie. This is what the story is. It doesn't matter what I wanted it to be. It doesn't matter what I thought it should be. It's not that. And I'm at a place where I'm just accepting this is what happened.
Yeah.
So the Last Jedi stuff, like the biggest thing that still bothers me is that I really like that she was a nobody. I don't like connecting her to a powerful Force user like Palpatine. Like, I don't need that.
Even with
don't need it.
Palpatine coming back, I could have dealt with that. That piece is one of the biggest things that bugs the shit out of me. Like the whole point of, like, literally, there's the broom boy scene at the end of The Last Jedi that says,
Man, I know.
anybody can be anybody. Like,
Yep. I know, man. I know. But even that was just like that. Like, that's the thing that bothers me the most.
Yeah.
Still, everything else is just like, yeah, the Emperor's back.
Yep.
Nothing. Nothing.
Travis in the chat apparently has actually met 2 people who have said Rise is their favorite Star Wars movie.
Wow, favorite. I've never met anyone that says it's their favorite. Wow.
Yeah, and Brian brings up a good point. Kids like some real crap. Minecraft movie, Five Nights at Freddy's, everything on YouTube. Like
the prequels.
Except for us, Brian. Except for us.
All right. Can we get into the actual thing? Have we tangented enough?
Oh, do we have an actual podcast that we were doing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Back to the rundown.
Anyway, Tony Gilroy gave an interview to the Hollywood Reporter this past week, and it was kind of billed as the interview that he couldn't give until now. And the majority of this interview, he doesn't talk too much about. I mean, he clearly does talk about Andor, but not in the way that you kind of want him to, except for these kind of things that well, not even. Anyway, I'm rambling. He's talking a lot about how Andor, specifically season 2, feels very prescient, very predictive about our current real life political situation with the Trump administration pulling us into fascism and authoritarianism. And if you disagree with the things that I just said, you can stop listening to this podcast. That's fine. I don't care if you don't listen. Anyway, this interview is a lot about that, and a lot about what's going on in our world currently versus things that happen in Andor and his reaction and blah, blah, blah. He did, I did clip one of those quotes. So like commenting on how it feels like it was foreshadowing to our real life situation, he said, this is Tony Gilroy saying, he said, the simplest answer to the strange synchronicity of all this really is on them, on the outside forces. we were pretty much just doing a show about authoritarianism and fascism, and the Empire is very clearly a great example of that. It's a great place to deal with those issues, and as we've discussed many times before, we had this wide open canvas to deal with it, meaning just like Star Wars, the universe, and the way they tell stories. So you get out your Fascism for Dummies book for the 15 things you do, and we tried to include as many of them as we could in the most artful way possible. How were we supposed to know that this clown car in Washington was going to basically use the same book that we used? So I don't think it's prescience so much as the sad familiarity of fascism and the karaoke menu of things that you go through to do it. You could list them from the show or you could list them from the newspaper. People were like, oh, you must have been psychic, or this show is prescient. But in the rearview mirror, it's really a much sadder explanation than that. And it's true. And I thought that was really interesting because, like, Steve, I'm not sure what your exact social media algorithm is, but like over the past things we've seen in the past few months or weeks with ICE and Minnesota and things like that, I saw a lot of comparisons to, like, you know, comparing Minnesota or Minneapolis to Gorman and all like the, you know, crowd control shootings and things like that are happening to like scenes from Andor. So I think it's very cool that he's talking about it, and the way that they're saying that it's an interview he couldn't give when the show is being promoted, I think means that like they weren't really allowed to talk specific politics or compare. They didn't want to like bring politics into the conversation. They just wanted to promote the show, right?
I think it was one of those where they wrote and produced and filmed the show, and then by the time they got to the press tour for season 2, things were hitting a little too close to home. And like you said, he could not give this interview. Like, what are you going to do before you have this huge debut of a huge show in one of your biggest, IPs? Just go out and say, oh, by the way, you know, just kill half of what, you know, your potential audience is.
Sure.
You can't.
But also, I don't think they didn't really have to say that because the show said that.
Oh, 100%.
Like, we were all thinking that when we were watching the show. We were like, whoa, this is...
If you haven't noticed that from
relatable.
Watching Star Wars episodes 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, Rogue One, Andor, Clone Wars, and Rebels, then you may want to relook at things. Like, go back with a fresh lens on those, please.
Crazy. It's crazy to me that people don't see the politics in Star
like
Wars.
The only piece of Star Wars that might not have had a direct reference to that was Solo, and that was because it dealt with a completely different underworld issue.
Right. Yeah. Yes. I noticed you didn't say Solo, and I was like, Solo is Solo the least political Star Wars movie?
No, because it deals with effectively the cartels and shit. Like, it's just a different political.
True.
Yeah.
True.
It's yeah. Star Wars is inherently political.
He's like still like a member of the Imperial Army or whatever.
Right. He's a defector from the Imperial Army, and then like gets in with the Black Sun, or what the hell?
Crimson Dawn.
Crimson Dawn. There you go. Rivals to the Black Sun. Sorry. No, it's it's interesting. Like, I don't. If you haven't seen any ties to politics from your Star Wars, you probably need to rethink some things.
Yeah. Or watch an interview with George Lucas where he talks about how he modeled the original trilogy after the Vietnam War.
Right.
Or how he modeled the prequels after the invasion of Iraq and like the policies of like George W. Bush. Like, that's
in The Force
word from
Awakens.
his mouth. He says that himself. Yeah.
Right.
What'd you say?
In The Force Awakens, there's literally a Nazi rally. Like, Leni Riefenstahl could not have filmed that better.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, the interview, Hollywood Reporter interview, goes into way more in-depth stuff around the quote that I just read. But I also wanted to touch on this because within the last week, Steve, I don't know if you saw this, but I saw a few reports, maybe not even in the last week, in the last few weeks, some reports that claimed that Dave Filoni, current co-head of Lucasfilm, didn't like Andor, and apparently like in-house was not like a fan of it, which seems like an insane thing to say.
It does.
So Tony Gilroy was asked about this, The interviewer brought up the claim and said, "Did you feel a sense of creative or philosophical disagreement with Dave Filoni?" And Tony Gilroy said, "No, we've only met a couple times, and we've only had a half a dozen conversations over the last 10 years. Seriously, I saw Jon Favreau once at a scoring session. We've always gotten along with those guys, and we've never had anything but high praise for everything they've done. We only have our show because of them, and we've always said that was true. There is no Andor without The Mandalorian. It would not exist. So it has never been anything but cordial and pleasant, ever, ever, ever. I don't know anything that you don't know. I really don't." So, setting the record straight there. I get how someone like Dave Filoni probably would never and probably could never make a show like Andor. No offense to Dave Filoni, it just doesn't seem like something that's in his wheelhouse to be able to pull off.
No, there's a reason why when we hear Taika Waititi is doing something, we know what it's going to feel like. And we know when Dave Filoni is doing something, what it's going to feel like. That's just, it's not his wheelhouse.
Yes. But I don't think anybody wouldn't like, anyone that likes Star Wars, I don't understand why they wouldn't like Andor. Like, yes, it's definitely a more serious tone, and it's got less weird aliens and there's no force in it, I don't know. If you're like a super lover of the force, then maybe Andor is not for you, because it mentions the force maybe one time. And that's it. But other than that, like, I can't see from any like creative person, anyone that has made a TV show or written a script for anything, I can't see them watching Andor and not seeing any value in it. And that obviously includes the talented Dave Filoni. So
I guess I could see where Andor isn't your favorite Star Wars. But like, if you're a fan of Star Wars, like you said, I have trouble wrapping my head around you not liking it at all.
Sure.
Like, there's too many ties and things that it still feels Star Wars, even though the tone is drastically different.
If the only thing that you like about Star Wars is space wizards and laser swords, then I totally get you not liking Andor.
Yep.
Totally get it.
I'm with you there.
But like I said, even like, if you're somebody that just appreciates good filmmaking or, good cinematography or good writing, like, you cannot good directing, you cannot deny that those elements are stellar in both seasons of Andor. Anyway, I'm glad that they asked him that question. I'm glad that he was able to be like, "No, let's put this to bed. There's no reason that Dave Filoni would hate this show at all." Steve, I don't know if you saw this, because I barely saw this. We're moving universes, moving some Marvel news, but not MCU Marvel, Sony Marvel. So, big question mark around this. But according to the Hollywood Reporter, Sony is developing an animated Venom movie. Now, this was not announced by Sony, but again, was an exclusive from Hollywood Reporter. They are reporting that Zach Lipovsky and Adam B. Stein, the directors of last summer's Final Destination Bloodlines film that was a big hit, they are going to be directing this project. Amy Pascal, Avi Arad, Matt Talmach, and Tom Hardy will be producing the movie. No writer is currently attached. Sony is said to be currently taking scripts and pitches from writers, I guess. Animated Venom movie. Is this the first you're hearing of this?
Yes, it is.
What's your immediate reaction to this news?
My immediate reaction was, that's a shit ton better way to do it than live action.
Okay. Sure.
You can get away with a lot more things. Things don't get taken as seriously, which inherently leads to them being less campy feeling. And you can make it feel a little bit more comic booky and true to the, like, whatever you want Venom to be, whether you want him to be the anti-hero, whether you want him to be, the symbiote, like,
villain.
However you want that to go, there's more freedom to play in that sandbox and do some more unique things in animation.
Very true. I agree. I can't be just automatically down on this announcement. Although I would not have expected an animated Venom movie. I don't necessarily want an animated Venom movie. But I didn't necessarily think that Into the Spider-Verse would be one of the greatest superhero movies that I've ever seen
True.
when they announced that movie. And this is the same studio that made Into the Spider-Verse. Now, I'd be more excited if in that list of producers that I just listed, if Phil Lord and Chris Miller were part of this team, I'd be a little more excited. But that doesn't mean this is going to be bad. Final Destination Bloodlines was not my jam, but like I'm not a big Final Destination guy. I thought that movie was probably the best Final Destination movie I've ever seen. And if you like Final Destination movies, then these guys really crushed it. So they like understood the assignment, understood the franchise. So if they can understand Venom in that same way and like really speak to the fandom and speak to the character in a way that helps define it, then yeah, I'm on board. The only sticking point for me is that I really stopped reading comic books with Venom in them like decades ago. So in my heart, Venom is a bad guy. And I know that he hasn't really been a bad guy for a really, really, really long time in comic books. But it's hard for me to accept him as a hero or an anti-hero in any way. Because in my heart, he's a bad guy. And I know that's just like me being like, old man yells at cloud kind of guy.
Yeah.
But if you're making an animated Venom movie, I personally would love to see his origin from Spider-Man in some way that they haven't done with the Tom Hardy movies at all. But I can't imagine that's going to be it because you're not going to make an animated Venom movie where he's a villain and bites people in half and rips them apart and murders people. That's not going to be the plot of this movie. It's going to be a PG-13 anti-hero movie.
Yep.
And my one question is just how will he have an origin, and will they explain that he used to be a villain? Will there be a connection to Spider-Man in any way? Because Sony is very very well known for making Spider-Man movies that don't have Spider-Man in them. So will this be another one of those? Will it be more Into the Spider-Verse-y? I don't know.
Yeah, and we're not going to know until we see it. Like, there's
True.
no like you said. I think even going into the Spider-Verse, we're like, yeah, this will be fun. And then leaving Into the Spider-Verse, it was like, oh, that was life-changing.
It's like, that was incredible.
Yeah.
That was legitimately incredible. One of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. Where do you fall on the Venom antihero thing? Are you enough embraced that you're like, yeah, cool, that's just what he is now? Like, and that's you've definitely read more Spider-Man books than I have in the last 20 years. So like you're probably more okay with it, but how do you feel about Venom as a character and where he should be portrayed?
I feel like the best portrayal ever of him was 100% Topher Grace. Easily the best Eddie Brock that I've ever seen. No. Oh, damn it. Brian made that joke in the chat too. Oh, God. No, when it's done well, the anti-hero thing can work. And if you go through all of the supporting stuff and all the random symbiote crap that's happened over the years, it can make sense. But in 99% of the populace's brain, Venom is a Spider-Man villain.
Right. Yeah.
And I always will fall on that. I mean, the Cates and Stegman run was great. Loved it. But inherently, like, and again, it's probably the Mike and Steve are old thing. Like you said, growing up, Venom was a villain. And that's what Venom is. Like,
what he is. Yeah.
Eddie Brock be damned, Venom
Yeah.
will find a way to do Venom things.
Yeah. I guess now that I'm thinking about it, all I really need, I don't need his origin necessarily. I do need him to have a relationship with Spider-Man in some way, which is something that bugged me about the Tom Hardy movies. No Spider-Man to be seen
Right.
or mentioned, like, ever. Did I tell you I watched that third Venom movie, Last Dance?
Last Dance? No, how was it?
Whew.
That good, huh?
Whew.
A+?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. It's bad. It's bad.
Like category for Brian to go see it in theaters bad, or like in that
I'd
vein?
be surprised if he
Okay.
hasn't seen it. I'd be surprised if he hasn't seen it. I might have enjoyed watching Madam Web more because Madam Web was bad in such a bizarre way that I was like, I can't believe what I'm seeing. This is insane what I'm seeing. Whereas this was just like, this is dumb. This is just bad and dumb. It's like it wasn't bad in an interesting way.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Whereas
It was
the
just
first
really
two were fun and dumb.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe this was too, and I was just in a bad mood. I don't know. I also don't remember those first two because I watched them years ago
Right.
once. You know,
I guess
like,
part of the other thing though is like you go to the well a third time for the same movie.
yes. Yeah. That was part of it for
Yeah.
sure. It's just like, just more, huh? Just more of this.
Yeah, like are we at the point where Tom Hardy's just catching a paycheck? Okay, cool. Let's go.
Really seemed that way.
Yep.
Really seemed that way. So anyway, I guess I just need him to have a relationship with Spider-Man, whether they're best friends or whether they are antagonistic or straight up enemies. I
Yep.
need him to be somewhat related to Spider-Man in some way if they're going to continue making standalone Venom
Well,
movies.
look at the Spider-Man games.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
sure, anti-Venom makes sense as a hero. Like, give me the
Mhm.
white suit. Like
Give me the white suit.
the black suit dude is the bad guy. He
Yes.
has been since time.
It's classic cowboy hat rules.
Right.
The black one, black
was it?
suit bad, white suit good.
Mad Magazine, the Spy versus Spy back in the day.
Spy
Like,
versus Spy.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Origin,
Anyway.
debuting as a villain in ASM 300. Go figure.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and it's very telling that Spider-Man 2, that video game came out what, year or two ago?
Yeah.
Pretty, the most modern Spider-Man game that exists, and straight up featured him as a villain. Didn't even try to make him an anti-hero at all. He was the villain the whole time. He was a big bad of that game.
So by apparently the first time that there was a truce between Spidey and Venom was in ASM 375 from 1993, where Eddie agreed to a truce and moved to San Francisco to operate as vigilante, which is where the whole Lethal Protector arc took off and all that.
Right. And that San Francisco is where the movie takes place.
Yep.
So they took that from the comics, at least.
Yep. Yeah, they basically,
Yep.
I mean, they took a bunch of the Lethal Protector stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. But again, no nod to Spider-Man whatsoever. Do you think that they're gonna do the black suit thing in Doomsday or Secret Wars with Tom Holland?
I mean, that says they should in Secret Wars right there.
I know, right? I know. But then that opens the door for a Venom in the MCU, a new Venom. Do you think? How long do you think they would? It's okay. This is a stupid question. I was gonna say, how long do you think they would keep Venom a villain in the MCU before giving him a hero turn?
God, not long enough.
Not long enough. That's what. Yeah, that's basically what I was thinking too.
I mean that,
Yeah.
like, you know what? I could see if they introduced it and Venom for the next, what the hell do they call them? Saga, like phase. There we go. Like for the next phase is, a villain, and then the phase after that, maybe he like starts to head down the antihero. Like, I could see
Yeah.
that working if you have like the character growth and you're showing the turn. But I'm pretty sure they would just kind of Spider-Man 3 the shit out of it.
I can also see him being a villain in one movie, and then the next time we see him, he's in some like humbled version of himself, and then the time we see him after that, he's like a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy or something, like
Right.
something like he's placed in another group of ragtag or Thunderbolts, like some
Yep.
kind of like ragtag team like that, and then from there his redemption arc begins or whatever. Which I wouldn't hate.
I've
That's
also
basically what they did with Loki.
Yeah. I've also realized why you and I find like our brains go back to Venom being the bad guy is because ASM 300 was 1988 and Lethal Protector was 93. And that 5 years is pretty much the seminal, like, okay, this is imprinted on me that Venom is a bad guy.
Yeah. But then even like when Venom started getting adapted into something like the Fox Kids cartoon show, that was the early 90s, and he was a villain in that,
Right.
He wasn't like anti-hero Venom in the Spider-Man cartoon. So like it took a while for portrayals of Venom because there haven't been many portrayals of Venom. Like in Spider-Man 3, as flawed as that movie is, like there's no way that they were going to introduce Venom as an anti-hero, despite him having been that in the comics for a long time already by the time that movie came out. Because his origin is villainy. If he had survived Spider-Man 3 and went on to Spider-Man 4, maybe we would have seen what we were just talking about happen, give him a face turn. Anyway, Marvel, you keep doing you. We'll see what happens. No one knows. No one knows. Someone that does know, but not about Marvel, about DC, James Gunn.
Oh.
James Gunn has been off of social media for a little bit, came back to Threads this week and started correcting rumors left and right, answering questions. There was a big story this week that Man of Tomorrow had been retitled to Superman, Man of Tomorrow. Not a huge title change. And he came out and said, nope, that's not true. It's just called Man of Tomorrow. We're not changing the title. And somebody said, but like, isn't that better to connect it to Superman? And he was like, it's about more than just Superman. It's not strictly a Superman movie, which he said before. So no, it's just called Man of Tomorrow. Get over it.
And also when the poster
reports
shows up, there's going to be a big goddamn David Corn sweat right there. So like you're going to be able to figure this out.
Yeah, we're going to know that it's Superman's in it. Yeah. There's also rumors and stories this week that James Gunn is fast tracking Matt Reeves' Batman Part 3 so they can get that out of the way before he introduces his Batman to the DCU, Brave and the Bold. He says that's not true. Like, he didn't go into this detail, but like, how can you say he's fast tracking Batman Part 3 when they haven't made Batman Part 2? Like, there's no script for Batman Part 3. They're not thinking about that. They're making the movie that they just started, that they're still casting.
Yep.
That doesn't even make sense. Basically said that he did clarify that it is very possible that we will at one point have two different Batmen going on. Like, it's not going to be, we're not necessarily even have to wait until the Brave and the Bold before we are introduced to the DCU's Batman. He may show up in a different project, and there's no reason that they're going to do that. They're going to do that when it's right. They're not going to do it before or after however many Matt Reeves Batman movies there are, whatever. They're going to do it when they need to do it. Another rumor about Paradise Lost, the Themyscira series, as compared to Game of Thrones on Paradise Island. Rumors about that being shelved. James Gunn says, no, not true. Still working on it. And the last question that I saw James Gunn debunk, someone asked, James Gunn, does Superman believe in Santa in the DCU? And James Gunn said, no, he's an adult.
Well,
I don't think that was a really burning question amongst nerds, but someone asked it, and now we know our answer. Which is different from the comic books, by the way, because in the comic books, Santa does exist as a real being, and therefore, Superman believes in him because he exists. Same way he believes in Batman. or whatever.
Yep.
You know.
Good to hear on the Paradise Lost. I was pretty excited about that. So
Yeah.
I know that
Yeah.
that's gone dark for a while. So I'm good to hear there's at least like confirmation it's not immediately going away.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just calling it like Game of Thrones with Amazons is such a cool fucking idea.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
yes, that's what it should be. I can't wait. Like, yes, I would love to see that. And Steve, this is the other thing that I was going to tell. The first, though, told you at the beginning, I said I had a couple things to tell you. One was that I watched Rise of Skywalker last night. The second thing, while I'm mentioning Game of Thrones, this will surprise you. I have started watching A Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Nice. I have not.
Can I tell you? What's that?
I have not.
You have not. Well, I'll tell you. It's fucking great.
Perfect.
Fucking great, man.
Nice.
It's really good. Just like, one main character.
Yep.
And this is what he's doing. You're not introduced to 25 different people in one episode with different moving parts, or like you're following this one guy and he's interesting and he's charismatic to watch. He's I don't know. It's very simple. He's got a mission. The pacing is like slow, kind of like reminded me of like early Game of Thrones, where it's like they're not trying to throw a bunch of stuff at you. You're just like watching this thing happen, watching this story play out. And I started watching it because my sister texted me about it, and she doesn't watch a ton of shows. She doesn't want to like give me too many recommendations, but she's read all the books.
Okay.
And so she was like, I know people are out on Game of Thrones, but like this show's really good. You should watch it. And so I was like, I'll watch it.
Yep.
If you start watching Andor. That's the trade that
there you go.
So I gotta text her back and be like, hey, I have done my part of the bargain here. Now it's your turn. So yeah, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, really good. I recommend it. If you like, I'm someone that was out on Game of Thrones. Didn't love the way the series ended. Not a big fan of House of the Dragon. So I was like, nope, done with this. If my sister hadn't recommended it, then I probably wouldn't have dove in. But I really took to it pretty immediately. So
Nice.
that's my recommendation.
Now I gotta go watch it.
You should.
2 nights this week I'm out of town for work, so I'm gonna have some time. Maybe I'll dive in then.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to hear what you think, because you have read the books, correct? The Dunk and Egg books. I haven't. And so while I'm watching it, I'm like, I wonder if this is faithful to the books, because I don't know, but like I'm really enjoying it. But I thought of you and I was like, I wonder if Steve will like be nitpicking or being like, well, this isn't how they do it, so I don't like, well, that's how, that happens to everybody. But like, I'm wondering how faithful an adaptation it is. So you need to tell me that when you watch it.
Roger that. I can do that.
Cool. I think there's like 5 episodes out right now. I think I've maybe watched 4 out of the 5.
Tonight I think is the 6th. It's the season finale.
Yeah.
So for anyone who's wondering about like, oh, I don't want to dive into this whole thing, like it's 6 episodes.
Yeah, and they're also not very long. I think the first one's like an hour, but the other ones are like 30, 40 minutes. Like they're short.
Oh, so they're doing the thing where they want to tell a story and the length fits the story instead of just fluffing it out for no reason.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep. And there was, like, I tell you, like the pacing is like kind of slow and like interesting.
Yeah.
There's a couple episodes like didn't end on a cliffhanger, just like stuff was happening and then the credits rolled.
Yep.
It's like, it's just it. It's just no big reveal or whatever. Just, nope. This one's over. Here comes the next one. Wait. Yeah. So yeah, I guess there's only 6 episodes, so check them out, folks. Something that I will be checking out. Actually, I didn't look at when these are coming out. I could look at the date. This is a comic book story. But this year we are celebrating the 10th anniversary of Star Wars Rogue One. Which is crazy because that just feels like such a newer movie to me, But yeah, 2016, 2026, here we are. And to celebrate the 10th anniversary of a lot of people's favorite Star Wars movie, Marvel announced that we're getting 5 one-shot prequel comics based on characters from Rogue One, covers by longtime Star Wars comic artist David Marquez. And these are coming out starting in May. We're basically getting one each month between May and September. So cool monthly rollout. Each issue is focused on a different character from Rogue One, or that time period at least. No, from Rogue One. First one, obviously, Cassian Andor, being written by Benjamin Percy and Luke Ross on art. Then, again, obviously, a prequel about Jyn Erso, written by Ethan Sachs with art from Ramon Rosanas. And then, one that I'm excited about. Saw Gerrera, written by Mark Bernardin. And Gabriel Guzman. So I am in on that one for sure. Number 4 is called Chirrut and Baze, our favorite duo from Rogue One, by Stephanie Phillips and Kieran McCowan. And finally, the 5th one, I was kind of surprised. It's about Darth Vader by Chris Condon and Luke Ross. And I guess I'm surprised that it's not like Krennic or someone that's like more specifically from Rogue One. You know, like Vader's from a lot of Star Wars. I'm surprised that they didn't give us, or like even Mon Mothma or something is more aligned with Rogue One. Specifically, I don't know.
I'm curious though, because like you can take that Vader one a couple different directions, and I do like what it could be. I'm very curious where they'll put that. Like, yeah, I don't know, because you have that gap between. It's probably got to exist in the gap between him and Krennic having their confrontation and the end of the movie, right?
And you're right. Yeah. It's got to happen before.
Or no, they're all prequels. They're all prequels to Rogue One.
They're all prequels to Rogue One. Yeah, you're right. So so whatever he was doing the day before Krennic showed up,
right?
Yeah.
Although by their interaction, there's definitely history there. So maybe we.
That's true. That's true. Clearly, they're clearly. I mean, they know each other.
Right.
They've spoken before. I guess.
You don't just show up to Mustafar and be like, "Hey, hi, Darth. Can I talk to you?"
There's one of the comics you loaned me. He meets Orson Krennic, I think. Or they talk about him at least. There's something where he partners with like an IB, like a
ISB. IBS is irritable bowel syndrome.
I know. I was like, I know I'm saying irritable bowel syndrome, but I can't think of what the other thing is. And I feel like all the letters are right.
God, what the hell?
I don't remember what it was, but I'm pretty sure there's some kind of interaction, or at least his name is brought up. Because I remember thinking it was very cool. It was one of the Vader books collections that you lent me. Steve is frantically searching for connections between Darth Vader and Orson Krennic.
Oh, it was from the annual, which was in the back of the
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. But it is Krennic and Vader?
Target Initiative, Project Stardust. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So there is history.
Yep.
So they can even build on that?
Yeah, Vader lands an Imperial base where he's greeted by Krennic.
Right.
On Geonosis.
Cool. Oh, I don't remember that part. That makes sense. Cool. When I first read this story about the comics, I was like, well, I'm definitely buying the Cassian Andor one because he's one of my favorite characters.
Yep.
And I do like Mark Bernardin, so I was like, I'll probably get the Saw Gerrera. But then just reading them, I was like, how am I not buying?
Right.
I think I'm going to buy all 5.
Well, and especially because
like, I'm not going to
monthly.
get the Jyn Erso one. Like, what? Am I crazy? She's the main character.
Right.
Of course, I'm going to get the Jyn Erso one.
They're not like dumping them all at once. It's like, all right, Jesse, put this on my poll, and in 5 months, I'll have the whole series.
Yeah. That would be the. No, I was thinking it might be the first Star Wars comics that I've ever bought, but I bought a few Star Wars comics. I've never like dove in. I've never had them on my pull list or anything like that.
Gotcha. There's a stretch where that was the only thing on my pull list.
I know, I'm sure. And then it was probably only Marvel, and now it's just DC. What? Steve? Look at you. Look what you've become. Speaking of pull lists and comic books, this week in your local comic book store, you may find the following books: Absolute Martian Manhunter, number 9; Absolute Wonder Woman, number 17; Amazing Spider-Man and Venom, Death Spiral, number 1; Be Not Afraid, number 6; Black Panther Intergalactic, number 3; Detective Comics 1106. I don't know why I had trouble saying that number. DuckTales, A Woohoo, number 11; The End, 2099, number 3; Final Boss, number 4; The Flash, number 30; Green Lantern, 32; Harley Quinn, 59; Hulk Smash Everything, number 3; Hyde Street, number 10; Infernal Hulk, number 4; Inglorious X-Force, number 2; Iron Man 2; Justice League Unlimited, number 16; The Mortal Thor, number 7; Predator Bloodshed, number 1; Psylocke Ninja, number 2; Punisher, number 1. New number 1 for Frank Castle. The Rocketeer, The Island, number 1. Rogue, 2. Skinbreaker, number 6. Spider-Man Wolverine, number 10. Superman, 35. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures, number 34. Ultimates, number 21. Universal Monsters, The Phantom of the Opera, number 1. And Vampirella, number 11. Also, a ton of other books that I just didn't include here because the list was already really long. But a lot of big books coming out this week. Big week for comics. And again, if you are a Funky Town Comics and Vinyl person like Steve and I are, their Camillus location is closed, but they do have your pull up in their Cicero store. If you make the drive up to Cicero, you can still pick up your pull list from Funky Town Comics and Vinyl, even if you are a Camillus subscriber. So,
yep.
Make the trip. Make the trip. And you know what? Well, I guess I'm going to be there Friday with you, so I can wait until then. But I was going to say, if we weren't doing that thing Friday, I think I'd still probably drive up there to get that absolute Martian Manhunter. So
that sounds right. For the record, I did not have a new review this week. However,
I didn't even ask. I forgot too. I didn't.
Oh, I mean, with it exploded, I figured there was no point in asking. But last week I had Iron Man number 1, which is the that I never read until this week.
Right.
Josh Williamson, who is riding high right now, took over Iron Man, rebooted it this year. Great. Like, it's great. I don't know what you'd expect out of a, standard issue number 1. There's cliffhangers, there's this, there's that, but like, it's Tony Stark. It's a solid take. It is what it is. Like, it's a good foundation for what should be a good book.
They got the character down.
Yeah,
in a good way. Okay. I feel like since Robert Downey Jr. reinvented the character of Tony Stark.
Yeah.
I feel like I've read either books or like snippets of books or seen panels where I just felt they were trying way too hard to write him like Robert Downey Jr., like too sarcastic or too quippy or whatever. And like, I find it's a balance that not everybody gets. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's what I would be looking for if I had read Iron Man number 1.
So this one is Tony. It's back to Tony battling things in his own head.
Perfect.
Which is like paramount to the character.
Yeah.
And it's effectively him against Madame Mask and AIM. So we're back to Tony in the tech world and doing like doing Iron Man things. So
sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds like Iron Man.
Yep.
Awesome. Cool. I don't think I read any comic this week.
For the record, Brian thinks you can do a better woohoo for DuckTales.
A woohoo! I could. I was
there
just
you
keeping
go.
it in.
That was pretty spot on.
My speaking tone. Yeah, thank you. Trust me, I can woohoo with the best of them. I'm an all-time woohooer when it comes to DuckTales.
So, like,
a woohoo.
Are you guys covering Song 2 by Blur soon?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was actually that's one of the first songs I ever played with a band in front of people.
That's great.
Song 2 by Blur.
That's gonna be in my head for days now.
Yep.
Talk about a band that like compare that to the rest of their catalog. And in the US, that's
I
all
know.
people know them for.
All people know. I know. Crazy. I know them enough to know enough songs to know what you're talking about,
Right.
but I never have really like dove into their discography.
Same.
But from all accounts, I would like it.
Yeah. Won't disagree there.
All right. Cool. I think that's all we got. Steve, you got anything else?
The only thing we didn't touch on is that they did move the Mutant Mayhem 2 release date
That's
up a month. So that'll be
yes.
We're getting Turtles sooner than we were.
And I feel like I think I said last week I thought that was coming out not until 2028. So when I saw it moved up, I was like, they moved it a whole year, and I was like, oh, I'm an idiot.
It's like, they moved it a month, but they moved it to the summer where kids can go see it. So that is nice.
Smart. Very smart.
Yep.
Smart move for them. Cool. Well, yeah. Well, that's definitely all I got.
Yeah, same.
So probably wrap this thing up. You can check us out on Patreon. You can follow us on Threads or Instagram. Been pretty light there lately, but I don't know. Maybe this week. Maybe I'll jump back on it this week. You never know.
Dive
you never know. You can find us at multiversereport.com. Send us an email. Reach out to us on social if you got something to say. Again, Steve and I this Friday will be up at Funkytown Comics and Vinyl in Cicero, New York, with Brandon from Modern Comics for a live collaboration podcast talking about all kinds of nerdy stuff in and outside of comics. And so we'll see you then.
Yeah.
And
if you're in the Syracuse area, stop out and see us, and that's it. Just stop out and see us.
I'd say if we're doing a podcast Friday, I'd say maybe it's up in the air as to whether we do another one on Sunday.
Yeah, I'd say it probably depends on what drops. Like if there's something major, then you might hear from us on Sunday. But otherwise, I would say Friday's considered our episode for the week.
We may, exactly. All right, cool. Glad we figured that out on air, so everyone will know. But whether you see us in person or just listen to our Friday episode, until next time, as the two suns set over the burnt corpses of Owen and Beru Lars, we say thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the multiverse.